love.
I have no
So
attachment
much.
to whatever.
Okay, let's pull it out together.
Okay. Don't say anything if
I
you see it
won't.
first.
I won't. Neither can you.
The biggest scandal rocking Hollywood right now isn't a box office flop or a casting controversy. It's a secretly recorded rant that could topple two of the industry's most famous names, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. It began when Lively shocked the court with an alleged quote from Wayfair Studios co-founder Steve Sarowitz. According to her, Sarowitz erupted during a private 2024 meeting, warning that if she or Reynolds ever crossed the line, there would be 2 dead bodies. The statement quickly made headlines, with Lively's team presenting it as evidence of a retaliatory plot, casting her as the victim and Justin Baldoni's camp as ruthless aggressors. But the full story is far murkier. The recording has never been released in full. Only selective snippets carefully chosen by Lively's lawyers were submitted to the court. These fragments claim Sarowitz likened protecting his studio to Israel defending itself from Hamas, adding, "There were 39,000 dead bodies. There will be 2 dead bodies when I'm done." Stripped of context, the words sound horrifying, and that's exactly the point. Baldoni's legal team is now demanding the full transcript be unsealed, not just the cherry-picked quotes Lively is flaunting. Context changes everything. Sarowitz has stated that his references to dead bodies were never literal. There were metaphors about reputations, business wars, and being ostracized in the industry. Lively, however, seized on the statement, turning it into a weapon to smear Baldoni and his allies. This wasn't evidence, it was theater, a stunt meant to manipulate headlines, sway public opinion, and portray Lively as a vulnerable victim. Once the full transcript comes to light, that carefully constructed image may not just slip, it could be completely shattered. The real question isn't whether Sarowitz said to dead bodies he did. The question is why Lively is so desperate to keep the rest of the conversation hidden. If the full transcript truly supported her story, why fight so hard to seal it? According to Baldoni's legal team, Lively presented the court with an out-of-context snippet carefully crafted to depict Sarowitz and by extension, Baldoni as violent and dangerous. The law doesn't operate on half-truths, which is why Baldoni's attorneys are demanding full transparency. They've filed motions to unseal the complete transcript, arguing that the public has the right to hear the entire exchange, not just Lively's hand-picked highlights. Adding another twist, Sarowitz himself, the man secretly recorded without consent, is supporting the push to release the full audio. He wants the public to hear exactly what he said, not Lively's distorted version. Lively's camp, however, is panicking. They insist the transcripts remain hidden, claiming it could expose a witness's identity and harm their case. Translation: they're terrified of what will happen once the public hears the complete conversation. This isn't just a legal chess match. It's a battle for credibility. Baldoni's side knows that when the full story comes out, the threat will be revealed as a business metaphor rather than a literal death threat, completely undermining Lively's retaliation narrative. If anyone is manipulating the system here, it's not Baldoni, it's Blake Lively. She miscalculated if she thought Baldoni would let her control the narrative. Now Baldoni has brought in serious legal reinforcements. Alexander Shapiro, one of the country's toughest defense attorneys. You may recognize her name. She's represented high-profile clients like Sean Diddy Combs and FTX founder Sam Bankman, served as a federal prosecutor, and even clerked for Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. This isn't a fight Lively can approach lightly. Shapiro's involvement signals that Baldoni isn't just defending himself, he's going on offense, ensuring the full truth is revealed. Lively may have started this war with a dramatic, fear-inducing quote, but the full transcript could completely flip the script. Every selective clip, every strategically leaked soundbite, and every attempt to sway public opinion could backfire once the entire conversation is laid bare. Context is king, and in this case, the context may prove that Lively weaponized a colleague's words to create drama, not substantiate a legal claim. In Hollywood, perception is everything and credibility is currency. By holding back the full transcript, Lively risks appearing willing to manipulate facts for her own gain. Meanwhile, Baldoni, with Alexander Shapiro by his side, is methodically working to expose the truth, showing the industry and the public that not every scandal is what it seems. When the recording is finally unsealed, it may not just vindicate Baldoni, it could redefine Lively's role in the saga entirely. What began as a single quote could unravel an elaborate PR and legal strategy, revealing the lengths she went to manufacture a narrative. The stage is set. Hollywood is watching. The question is no longer whether Sarowitz said to dead bodies, it's whether Lively's selective storytelling can survive the full spotlight. In a city where reputation is everything and truth eventually surfaces, this recording could be her undoing. Baldoni.com and Determined made a strategic power move by adding Shapiro to his legal team. This fight was no longer just about defense. It was about going on the offensive. Baldoni signaled clearly that he wouldn't merely survive, he intended to expose Lively's half-truths and hold her accountable for nearly a year of smear campaigns. Lively's strategy hinges on portraying herself as a victim of harassment and retaliation, but cracks are already forming in that narrative, and Shapiro's involvement magnifies them. Baldoni's initial countersuit for defamation and extortion may have been dismissed on technical grounds, But with Shapiro on board, those arguments are coming back stronger, sharper, and nearly impossible to ignore. For Lively, this is the ultimate legal nightmare. She is now facing one of the country's most formidable legal minds, someone who knows exactly how to dismantle a case built on manipulations and selective storytelling. Any notion that Baldoni could be intimidated into settling quietly has been shattered. With Shapiro leading the charge, the fight extends beyond clearing his own name. It's about shining a light on Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, exposing the behind-the-scenes power plays and maneuvers they have orchestrated. Lively isn't backing down, though. She is doubling down, using one of the oldest tricks in the legal playbook, weaponizing the court to silence her opponent. Her latest tactic involves filing sanctions against Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman Weiss. Why? Because Friedman dared to challenge her narrative publicly and expose inconsistencies in her story. Lively's team accused him of violating a protective order, citing interviews and leaked information. In reality, these violations are simply Lively struggling with inconvenient truths. Friedman's comments weren't reckless, they were challenges to her credibility. Challenges she couldn't withstand. Her lawyers labeled them biased and inflammatory, which translates to one thing: he hit too close to home. Her desperation doesn't stop there. Friedman once joked about deposing Lively at Madison Square Garden, live streaming the proceedings, and selling tickets. It was an absurd taunt, highlighting how ridiculous the circus had become. But Lively's team twisted it into yet another reason to cry foul. As details of her deposition began leaking, she rushed back to the judge demanding punishment. To the public, it appears she's trying to shut down any narrative she can't control. And that has become a clear pattern. Every time Baldoni's team gains traction, Lively storms the courtroom with complaints instead of substantiating her claims. Ironically, each sanctions motion only makes her appear weaker, exposing her as manipulative, calculating, and terrified of the truth, the exact accusations Baldoni's side has been making. Meanwhile, in public, Lively plays a very different game. On Instagram, she posts about watercolor books, coping techniques, and finding inner peace. She speaks of how painting relaxes her, costs less than therapy, and provides quiet moments of reflection. On the surface, it seems wholesome, a woman finding calm amid chaos. But dig deeper, and the calculated PR strategy becomes clear. This is image rehabilitation designed to distract from the legal storm raging behind the scenes. While she showcases watercolor sketches online, court documents reveal a far darker story. Lively is accused of manipulating evidence, twisting words, and pulling everyone, including her husband, Ryan Reynolds, and close friend Taylor Swift, into her legal battles. Yet, publicly, she presents herself as serene, composed, and grounded. Even so, cracks are emerging. Reports indicate her marriage with Reynolds has been strained by the non-stop legal battles. Sources describe days of tension, uncertainty, and emotional exhaustion. Lively's public persona of tranquility stands in stark contrast to the relentless pressures of litigation and public scrutiny. Every Instagram post and carefully curated moment of calm attempts to mask a legal strategy unraveling in real time. The juxtaposition is clear: Bulldown.com, composed and focused on facts, versus Lively, simultaneously publicizing art therapy, filing sanctions, spinning headlines, and trying to control perception. The more she pushes her PR narrative, the more the cracks show. Each social media post may be intended to reassure fans of her composure, but the legal filings reveal a high-stakes chess match defined by chaos, desperation, and calculated manipulation. Lively's dual strategy, combining legal pressure with public distraction, risks backfiring. What attempts to weaponize the court system while cultivating an image of serenity only exposes inconsistencies and erodes credibility. Baldoni's legal offensive, strengthened by Shapiro's expertise, continues to pressure Lively into revealing her true strategy. This courtroom duel is more than a legal battle. It is a test of strategy, credibility, and public perception. For Blake Lively, the tension between her carefully constructed public image and the harsh realities of the legal system is becoming impossible to maintain. With Reynolds trying to reassure her while she struggles under pressure, it is evident that this isn't peace, it is a desperate effort to keep her personal life together as her professional reputation unravels. The irony is stark. No number of watercolor books or perfectly curated Instagram posts can erase the storm approaching. Behind the curated calm lies a harsh reality. She faces serious accusations of harassment, retaliation, and manipulation. The more Lively tries to distract the public with carefully crafted images of serenity, the more obvious it becomes that she's losing control. At this point, it's no longer just a lawsuit, it's an all-out war over power, reputation, and survival. Lively wants the world to believe she's a brave victim standing up to harassment and retaliation, but the evidence tells a very different story. A meticulously orchestrated smear campaign aimed at Justin Baldoni and his Wayfair Studios partners. Her December 2024 lawsuit accused Baldoni of harassment, retaliation, and coordinating a smear campaign. Heavy words, but they rely on shaky testimony. manipulated recordings, and emotional spin. Baldoni, however, fought back decisively with a $400 million countersuit for defamation and extortion. While the countersuit was dismissed on a technicality, it demonstrates that he isn't merely defending himself, he's exposing the lies behind Lively's claims. Ryan Reynolds wasn't a bystander either. Named in Baldoni's countersuit, he actively supported Lively's attacks, pushing the narrative that Baldoni was the villain. Together, Lively and Reynolds turned this into a tag-team effort to destroy Baldoni's career and seize control of the project. But here's the twist. They underestimated him. Instead of folding under the pressure of Hollywood's golden couple, Baldoni doubled down. He hired top-tier lawyers, pushed for transparency, and called out their manipulative tactics. Now, the cracks in Lively and Reynolds' carefully curated image are impossible to ignore. This case isn't about a movie anymore, it's about credibility, career survival, and who can withstand the most intense public scrutiny. And right now, the evidence is stacking heavily against Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. The next chapter will be critical. A federal jury is set to hear the case in March 2026, and until then, every filing, leak, and desperate move by Lively's camp is under intense scrutiny. One of the most explosive questions revolves around the full transcript of Steve Serowitz's "two dead bodies" remark. So far, only heavily edited snippets have been released. If the complete audio proves that Lively twisted his words to fit her narrative, her entire retaliation story could collapse overnight. She would no longer appear as a victim, but as someone who weaponized the court of public opinion to target a man she couldn't control. Then there's Taylor Swift. Will she be forced to testify? Could Lively's connections pull her into the witness chair, or will Baldoni's team prove her involvement was merely a smokescreen? The stakes are explosive, and the fallout could extend far beyond the courtroom. One thing is clear. Justin Baldoni isn't backing down. With a team of heavyweight attorneys, he's fighting not just to protect his reputation, but to reveal the truth. If the case unfolds as Baldoni's legal team anticipates, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds may not be remembered as Hollywood's golden couple. They could be known as the architects of one of the most calculated smear campaigns in modern entertainment. The final act has yet to play out, but when it does, it could change everything. Every motion, every leak, and every strategic spin from Lively's camp is being watched, dissected, and evaluated. This isn't just a story about fame or money, it's about accountability, truth, and the harsh realities of power in Hollywood. The question now isn't just whether Lively's story holds up, it's whether Baldoni is about to expose Hollywood's biggest lie.